to the Thursday installment of our friendly neighborhood Wildwood, live from the Orange Room here in beautiful Wisconsin. I've got a shipment of guitars coming in from Wildwood today, but they have not arrived yet. So I thought it would be fun to play a Wildwood spec Les Paul today. Tom Konichka's calling. Hang on. Hello?
Hey, Greg, it's Tom.
Tom, what's happening?
My call caller.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a cartridge slash repair kit for that thing, which, of course, they're not in stock.
Of course.
I can get it. They said Monday.
All right, no worries. Okay, when it comes in, just give me a holler and we'll make it so.
Okay.
Thank you, my friend.
All right, Greg.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye. Sorry, I had to take that. It was our plumber and my friend slash plumber. Because we've got a problem with the bathroom and back, and the shower's not working. That's a problem. We have a shower upstairs. We still use the one down here, but it's kind of cockeyed. But Tom's going to take care of that stuff, but the part doesn't come until Monday. Thank you. I'm glad I was able to have you guys be involved a little bit in the domestic life of Koch residents and how we deal with problems, okay? You know what, folks? I'm not a handyman around the house. I'm going to tell you that right now. You know, people are like, you know how you get good at guitar? You don't know how to do anything else. Thank you. You want to get good at guitar, be bad at everything else. Actually, I can do a few things, but be that as it may. I want to just share this real quick with some friends online, and then we're going to talk a little bit about Les Pauls. Let's see what we got here. I'm live here, and I'm going to share this over here to our friends at... Write post. I will write a post, and I will like it. Shared that there. Write another post. Where am I sharing it to? I'm sharing it to a group. The Gristle Kingdom. All right. All right. An important question, asks Mike Masters. He asks if we got our coffee machine fixed, and all I'm going to say is, yeah. Rough couple of days, folks. I'm going to tell you that right now. Thank you very much. We had a situation where our coffee machine, the grinder, was not functioning. And we did all the things we were supposed to do via a whole lot of latte videos on YouTube. Figured out, we did everything we were supposed to do. Still, the grinder wasn't working. So I talked to the people at Gaja and their surrogates here in the States, and we're going to send it back, and we're looking at 4 weeks, possibly 4 weeks without our coffee machine. And then as we were packing up, getting ready to go, we turned it on one last time to make sure there was no water anywhere left in the system, and the damn grinder started working. And I said to myself, and it was good. I got to tell you, there's nothing that puts a skip in this old boy's foot step than a working coffee machine that makes the real deal, not any of these other... Now, granted, these are first world problems. I'm not going to say that they're not first world problems. How cool was it that Joe Satriani mentioned it? It was fantastic. Joe's a great dude, really a kind fella. But to have him say that, and very, very nice. That. Yes, love it when problems fix themselves. That's right, Paul Brown. The guitar I'm playing today is a Wildwood Spec 57 from the Fender Custom Shop. What does this Wildwood Spec business mean? Well, the Wildwood folks have been hip to all the minutia that goes into great Les Pauls, and they have been ordering special edition Wildwood spec versions of Les Pauls for quite some time, and they're exceedingly popular because they're very lightweight. They're tricked out to the nines. They got their own special pickups in them that are an underwound delight. They sound and look magnificent. So when I was working with the Fishman folks on needing some instruments to properly demonstrate their Fluence pickups, I said, I got to get some of those Wildwood spec and Wildwood 10 instruments because they're the best. So that's what we did. And this was a 57. You can see this glorious weapon. You can see some of the flame on there. It's just a little bit of flame. Not too much, but just a nice little amount. Let's see if we get the close-up. You see that? Nice. So this is a VOS. I have a tendency, folks, to like the VOS. This was not done in the factory. This is honest. This is honest road rash. Unfortunately, the road case that I have, the TSA always goes in and repositions the guitar, so it gets bollocksed in there. Luckily, I haven't had any worse damage, but I've had some damage here, and I've actually had some damage up here that's been repaired. But I like the VOS because it's kind of a matted finish. I've had a Wildwood Spec 59 in the gloss for it. Just a beautiful, stunning top on that rascal. But I was always a little self-conscious about it because it was just so immaculate. I felt weird about playing it. Well, I played it all the time anyway, but it feels more delicate. I like the matte because it feels a little broken in without having the total relic job. Not that I don't mind the relic. There's some people are vehemently opposed to the aging process stuff. But especially when it's being, like I had a collector's choice number 15, the Greg Martin Les Paul, the 58, a magnificent guitar, I might add. It was aged to look like his guitar, and I love that guitar. The only reason why I got rid of it is because I needed to liquidate some higher-end guitars to be able to get the cash flow to buy my 53 Telecaster, which was a worthy effort. But now I've only got one Les Paul in my arsenal. Oh, poor me, I only have one Les Paul. But I do have a hankering to get a burst because there's just something about a Les Paul, folks. I don't know what it is. Well, I know what it is. They sound magnificent. They play great, and they're eye candy. All right. Thank you. I did this little squank challenge. There's a Billy Gibbons called the pinch harmonic squanks. You know, when you get this kind of let's see what we got. Yeah. You choke up on the pick. They're mostly downstrokes to get that pinch harmonic stuff, but Les Pauls are particularly excellent for this type of activity. Yeah. That's what Les Pauls do. They rock the world. But they also get that nice juicy. Right? Does that savagery. Am I right? It is a while back. and juicy. I am using the Koch amplifier, that my signature amp. That's what I'm using for the sound of that. And for those of you who know what I'm talking about, I'm using the lead sound. The second channel is a lead channel. I put it on overdrive. It gets a little juicy. And then I put the OTS on. The mystery man came over and he said, "I'm out of sight." Said for a nominal service charge, I could reach Nirvana tonight. Someone asked if I knew any Zappa licks, and there you go. Anyway, so right now I've currently got bold and succulent. Yes, that is what we're aiming for. Cosmic Despress. I've got a hankering for another Lester. And I've been going to the Wildwood site, and I've been getting tempted. And you know what tempts me? I'm going to tell you right now, folks. First of all, Wildwood's been doing a lot of Wildwood spec guitars with Tom Murphy. Now, Tom Murphy is the guy that ages and paints all the cool Gibsons. He actually does all kinds of different guitars. A lot of people who will get an old guitar that has been that needs, shall we say, refurbishment. He will paint it and age it properly so it looks all well and good. He's worked on a cavalcade of weighty cats guitars. Wow, a cavalcade of weighty cats. And he's been doing some Wildwood spec, hand and painted, aged as well. Versions of Wildwood specs. So if you go to the Wildwood website and you go on Gibson Custom, or actually on the top it'll say Wildwood spec, and it'll say Tom Murphy Wildwood spec stuff. I'm not going to lie to you, they're a little on the pricey side, but this is a guitar that is going to be one that you're going to behold in splendor for the rest of your days. Can you dig it? So that's what I look at. And I also like the Wildwood spec. Just the regular Wildwood spec. And I always kind of gear towards the 58s. I like a little bit of a bigger neck, although the 59s are great too. But the 58s seem to be just a little bit, you could save a couple of hundy. You know what I'm saying? Just because they're 58s. Because for whatever reason, everyone wants a 59. And I don't mind the smaller necks on the 60. I'm an equal opportunity defiler, as I like to say, of guitar necks. So if something's got a little bit more girth, like, hey, cool. If it doesn't, it's a little smaller. That's just the way that guitar is, and I like the sound of it and the overall feel. I'll say let the good times roll. Can you dig it? Yeah. Greg, which do you prefer, stainless steels or nickel frets? You know what, Tommy? I'm embarrassed to say it, but I just play a guitar, and I have no idea what the frets are made out of. I just go, I like that guitar. So I can't really speak to it. Now, if someone said, well, you play that one guitar versus that guitar, what do you think? Does that one have stainless steel frets? And I'll go, well, I don't know. I'm sorry, that's kind of a lame answer, but that's my answer, and I'm sticking to it. Brian asks, Greg, where are you with starting your own record company so I can get your damn KMT jams as possible? Well, that's no problem. We have no problem putting out our own stuff. I've done that many, many times. So it's just that now I've got to figure out when to release it and get a publicist to, propagandize it accordingly and all that kind of sweet stuff. Let me turn this phone off here. I do not want to hear from potential spam. We've already heard from my buddy Tom /Plumber on our broadcast today, so we don't want to, go crazy. Don asks, have I ever played on a 1056 V-neck? I have indeed, and I love them. My Secret Machine asks, Greg, what speakers did you put in the Greg and why? This is an excellent question. They recommended these Jensen Jet speakers. There are 210s in there. And I took the amp on tour and I played it and I loved it. So I said, I don't know what's in there. Looks like Jensen's. I'm cool with that. And I have been pleased with the way they've responded. They're fantastic. Is that a custom shop 335 behind you, Steve? You rascal! I'm going to deploy that beast in just a second's time here. It is actually an old 2000 13. Boy, is it 2013 already? Jumping Jehoshaphat. That is a Gibson Memphis 60th or 50th. Was it 50th? I can't. Sorry, math sometimes eludes me. It was it was 50th anniversary then of the mighty ES-335, and it's a 60, or is it a 62? Is it a 63? Or it was a 63. Sorry, brain. Sorry, Charlie. Oh, thank you, Adam. I appreciate that. It's nice. I was very, very gobsmacked by how many people reacted to that article in such a very kind way and said such nice stuff. It means a lot, doggone it, when, it was totally unexpected that, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, Guitar World magazine did a list of 15 of the, I don't know if it's the best or whatever, all-star guitar teachers. Joe Satriani was on the list, and Jennifer Batten, and Tommy Emmanuel, and Tomo, and all kinds of, and my buddy Andy Alador. And I was on the list. I was number 9, and said some very, very nice stuff. It was totally unexpected, so I just, posted it on my social media stuff, and man, people just went, said really, really nice things. And then the local newspaper ran a story about it, which I thought was very, very nice. So again, I didn't know it was coming. So I was just kind of like, hey. And then when people respond and say, that they learned this from you and that this affected them, and it's like, wow, I'm not a loser. So it was very, 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 very humbling. Anywho, will the smaller Greg sound good without being cranked? Yes, absolutely. So I'm sorry, folks. There's going to be 2 other iterations of my amps with Koch amplifiers, and one is going to be basically the same channel features of the current one. It'll have a clean channel, which has a gain and a master and bass, middle, treble, and then there'll be a lead channel with the gain boost, and then there's volumes there's masters for each channel, so it allows you to really balance out the clean and the overdrive. And it'll have reverb on it as well. It won't have the same controlled reverb. It's not the same reverb that's on the Greg amp, because this one's a longer pan, I believe, and it's got the 3 controls. It's got the dwell, the tone, and the amount output, or whatever it is that the 3 controls. I can't remember. It's my brain. And then it will not have the harmonic vibrato, nor will it have the OTS. So it'll be a single 12-inch version of a 2-channel amp with reverb that's the same voicing as this amp, but it just won't have all the extra bling on it. And as a result, it's going to be about $1,000 less. And then there's going to be another version, which is just a real pared-down single 12 amp that's only 12 watts or 4 watts. And that just has a volume, a gain, a tone, and a reverb, and that sounds magnificent. So, can you dig it? Watching it from Nepal, man, that's crazy. I'm gonna do a little thing where I posted this to my YouTube channel this morning, a little instructional thing on an old tune of mine called 265, and it's just kind of good for hearing all the different sounds. I'll go for some clean sounds and maybe hit the overdrive at some point. When I use the looper, folks, I need an overdrive pedal, because if I hit the overdrive on the amp, obviously then the loop will be overdriven as well, unless I would do like an A-B switch or do something with multiple amplifiers, which I'm just not doing right now. So in order to get by with the rig that I have set up, I have my Gristle King pedal for a clean boost and an overdrive. So anyways, I'll play a little bit. Like that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you kindly for all the nice comments out there, doggone it. Anyway, so this is indeed a Wildwood spec, Gibson Custom Shop Wildwood spec 57. And this is actually a featherweight. Most of the Wildwood spec guitars are pretty doggone light. And this one, I would say, is around 8 pounds, maybe a little bit less. Very, very light. Can you dig it? Les Paul does sound good with just the fingers, doesn't it? It's a very expressive guitar. Les Pauls, they sound good clean. They sound good with a little bit of heat. They sound good drenched in reverb. The other day I was messing with Fleetwood Mac tune with the Danny Kerwin era that... Where's that one? It's transparent. Oh. It's good. Good sound. Yes, it was. So there you have it with the Lester Paul Fist. I'm going to switch over to the 335 here for a hot minute. So I encourage you, if you're looking for a Lester, and if you just want to be enticed into Les Paul lust, just go to the Wildwood website and go on all the Gibson Custom Shop Les Pauls. Just start there and then lurk, and then the Wildwood spec ones. But if you just do all the Gibson Custom Shop Les Pauls, you will be, well, befuddled. And they do some excellent things with Gibson USA now as well. There's a Wildwood Select that they do where they picked out some nice tops to put on Gibson USA standards. And those are magnificent and a lot less dough. So there you go. Can you dig it? It does look like Lucy, doesn't it? It does look like Clapton and George Harrison's old Les Paul. It is a transparent top on here, folks, so you can see the wood through. Let me get that close up again. See? Nice little flame on there. And again, this is a VOS. So the gloss is like brand new, shiny and bright. And the VOS has just got a little patina. A little patina. And then you can get them aged as well. And this one I've aged myself, as I said, with the power of air travel and road cases and TSA. There are Fishmans in this guitar. But the Wildwood spec pickups sound magnificent. Michael Borrell, you savage rascal, is asking if there's any Wildwood select or special Epiphones. Not at this time. Not at this time. Though I got to say, that Joe Bonamassa Black Beauty is quite enticing. That looks quite good. And they're like dirt cheap. So, there's always something to entice the guitar fiend. Am I right or am I right? Every day there's something on the doggone in your Googles. You're like, what the heck is that guitar? Doggone it, you're taking my soul and feasting. Cheers from Brazil. When playing fingerstyle, it seems you use downstrokes with your index finger. Is that correct? I don't know about that. I do sometimes. Depends on what I'm doing. If I do a kind of a variation of my Travis picking, There is a Dwayne Allman Les Paul at Wildwood right now. I've been tempted by that one too. There's the Mike Bloomfield. I don't know if the Mike Bloomfield's still there, but they've got a used Mike Bloomfield over there as well, and that is toying with my brain. Yes. Bonamassa deploys some vintage tellies from time to time as well. He certainly does, Eddie. I was visiting him at his at Nerdville West. Out in California, I was out there doing some stuff, and we were shooting the breeze on the phone. He said, "Why don't you come on over?" So I did, and I had seen most of his Les Pauls. I think he's gotten more since then, but I kind of had an opportunity to play some of his old Les Pauls. So he said, "Well, what do you want to check out?" I said, "The tellies, the Telecasters." And so we went into another part of his lair. There's like where there was a recording studio out back. Whoever owned the house previous had a recording studio back there, and he uses it as a lair for guitar storage and just hanging out and whatnot. So he grabbed a real broadcaster. So I got to play a real broadcaster. And I was playing that guitar, and it sounded so good. And he kept on bringing other stuff out in the meantime, and I was like, I'm good with this one. Oh, guitars, they'll take you away. Anyway, okay, I'm going to switch over to. You should name that red Les Paul Chicken Tikka Masala. I like it, Mark. Chicken Tikka Masala. I got to say that my son John makes a pretty excellent chicken masala. It's not a chicken tikka masala, but it's a chicken masala. But I say chicken tikka masala. All right, now I'm going to grab this delicious creature. Now, the Gibson Custom Shop is making some awesome 335s again, but so is Gibson USA, and those are way less expensive. And I played actually a 345 that didn't have the Veritone switch, and and it was just a regular Gibson USA, and I think they go for 2500-ish, which I know is still a lot of money, but in comparison to custom shop stuff, which is maybe double that, it was equitably priced. And I'll tell you what, it sounded and played fantastic. I played it on a video, and it sold lickety-damn split. We like that when that happens. That's not a bad thing. It's kind of like I've used these broadcasts. It's kind of like the person from the Humane Society going, "Oh, look at little Fido. He needs a home." And people go, "Oh, Fido." And they go, "Skloidel." And they get a hold of whoever from the Humane Society and they say, "I want Fido." And then there's a great battle. That's what I do for these guitars for Wildwood, is I just play them and I enjoy them and I show you and you go, "Oh, sweet guitar. I want to make it a home. I make it at my home," or whatever. That all sounded weird, but you know what I meant. Sounds good, doesn't it? It seems to me 335s just have a little bit more air around the note. They're not quite as mean and direct as a Les Paul, which sounds great. Not that Les Pauls don't sound sweet as well, but this one's just got a little extra note, a little air around the note. Right? These are the Fishman pickups in this guitar. Someone asked if they were the original. Something like that. Right? Sorry. You get the idea. The sound of this 335 is magnifico. And again, all these overdrive sounds are coming from my Greg amp, which also can be procured at the Mighty Wildwood Guitar. That's the power of an ES-335. Doggone it. It's the power of the ES-335. How do you make the feedback screen? Sometimes you just get lucky. The proximity right now is like, hey, that worked, so I know where to go there. So you just find the sweet spots where the stuff is going to happen. Are you hip to the Ainsley Dunbar retaliate? I am indeed. There was some excellent, there was a good one with Ainsley Dunbar, Peter Green, Jack Bruce, and Rod Stewart doing, oh, you're about to be stone cold crazy. Thanks. Good, clean fun. I'm playing the big one today, Phil. I'm playing the Greg over here. That's the amplifier in question. 212s, that's correct. Does this guitar have a push-pull? It does indeed, because it has the Fishman pickups on it. Although I'm just using them in voice 1 right now. Here's the second voice of the bridge pickup. Share that. Thank you, Damien. That's very nice. Thank you. Right, can you dig it? Sounds good. Right? Do you play tens, or does it vary from guitar to guitar? That's an excellent question. I think if I was more, I would probably switch to 11s on the shorter scale guitars, on the Gibson scale guitars. But I use 10s on everything. So when I switch to a Gibson, it's like butter. Can you dig it? So I just use 10s. Can you dig it? Yeah. So there you have it, folks. You know what? I'm going to grab a Wildwood. James asked if I have any bass guitars. I have 2 bass guitars here. I have 2 Reverend bass guitars. I got the Mike Watt shorter scale bass, and I've got a longer scale. I'm trying to think which one that is. It's a savage beast. Polyp Rumbler 3000 is what I'm going to call it. Right? Let's see what we got here. Yeah, you and me both, Brian. I can't wait for that The new Reverend Gristlemaster 290, we're going to call it, I guess. We're looking at early 2021 on that bad boy. This guitar is a Wildwood 10. 57 Strat. Very, very light. 10-inch radius. Kermit asks, do I have any baritones? I do, as a matter of fact. I've got an old Dan Electro, kind of a Longhorn thing, and then I've got a Reverend Pete Anderson, which is killer. I also have a Reverend Descent. The Pete Anderson is tuned from C to C, and it's like a Baja Sexto type of a thing with their tele configuration, really, but with a Strat neck pickup and a middle pickup, and then the bridge pickup at the back, and it's got a Mr. Wiggles on it as well. It's got a whammy bar, Wilkinson whammy bar on it. So the Wildwood 10 guitars that they do with the Fender Custom Shop have a 10-inch radius, 6105 frets, quarter saw neck. They have to be under a certain weight. They have cool pickups on them as well. They have Wildwood-oriented pickups you can only get on a Wildwood 10. I have actually the Fishman Fluence pickups on here. Would you have Robin Ford on one of these days? Yes, I will get Robin Ford on one of these days. 6105 frets on all your guitars. For the most part, yes. Do you have info for the next KMT release? Not yet, Wolf. We don't have a date yet. We're still figuring it out. But they're coming. Paul G. Brown. I like it. Sounds good, does it not? Yeah, I know Chuck Hall. Chuck Hall's an old buddy of mine. Absolutely. He's a cool cat and a great player. I ain't superstitious, right? Or... Everyone hates the London Sessions record. I love that record. That's like Clapton's best. Some of his best Strat playing is on that record. That was right before he went into the crazed, shall we say, heroin hideaway. What? It's the overdrive in the amp right now. Hey, Brazil, what's going on down there? Brazil, Brazil, Brazil. Another one. In high school, we always used to do a version of that. That was always the hardest thing to get, was that. Yes. Simple and effective, without a doubt. Although Clapton plays that part on that record, but yeah, Hubert stuff was always fantastic. Got to hang out a little bit with Hubert and play with him a couple times. My favorite Hubert story is years ago I had a cable access show here in Milwaukee. Actually, the guy that actually ran the show was a guy named Larry Perrin and his wife. They had a show called Guitar Nuts, but I was the host. And so they'd say, we're interviewing so-and-so this week. And so we'd go in and we'd interview people. And my buddy Jeff Degenhart, who's a great guitar player and a cool cat, knew Hubert pretty doggone well. And Hubert actually moved to town here for a long time at a house. And we went over to Hubert's house and we're hanging out in his basement. And his basement was just like, you know, normal kind of suburban basement. You go downstairs and he's got pictures all over the wall. And it was pictures that Hubert had of him playing with everyone and their brother all over the walls. And so you're like, wow. And then he just started telling stories, one story after another. And you're just going, this is insane. I'm in Hubert Sutherland's basement. He's telling me stories about playing with Wolf and with Muddy and so on and so forth. And then we did a couple gigs where we were in the band. He came up and played some tunes, and it seemed surreal, but that happened. And then at the first Clapton Crossroads Festival, it was a crazy thing. We were playing on stage, and while we're playing on stage, I look over to the side of the stage, and there's Billy Preston just sitting there rocking to us, like going like, ah, and I get off stage, and there's like all these people around, and like, hey, and like, this is crazy. I go into the dressing room. We're sharing a dressing room with Johnny Lang and with Doyle Bramhall Jr., and I'd known Johnny and his band for a long. We were old buddies, so we were like, hey, what's going on? And we saw Doyle. I'd met Doyle before. Hey, and then John Mayer walks in. I was like, hey, how's it going? He's like, I'm like, okay, whatever. I understand he's gone through a transformation. He's far nicer. But then he couldn't be bothered by the likes of me. So I walked out, and then next thing I see Mickey Rourke standing there. I'm like, Mickey Rourke, that is so weird. And then I walk a few more steps, and then Jimmy Vaughn's walking with like two security guards, and he sees me out of the corner of his eye. He's like, hey, man. And he goes over and he shakes my hand. I'm like, hey, Jimmy, what's happening? And I realized that he had to approve those Stevie Ray Vaughan DVDs. I understand that he really liked it. He enjoyed what I did with those DVDs. So that must have been it. I was like, hey, how's it going? Jimmy Vaughan, what? And then I walked, so I'm like blown away by all these, and then I'm walking a few more feet and I see Hubert Sumlin, and he's surrounded by these press people, and they're asking him questions, and he just looks like, it's like, do I have to answer another of these questions? And then he looks up, and him and I lock eyes, and I'm quite a bit away. He just looks at me and he goes like this. I was like, that is the coolest thing in the history of man, was Hubert waving to me from across the way. Anyway, so I digress. Listen, folks, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Greg, what is, in your opinion, the best reissue Strat or pickups for the blues? Boy, Jeff, that's highly speculative, but I will say some of the ones I enjoy, certainly. Well, I'm a fan of the Wildwood spec stuff, so I like the 55s. This is a 57. The neck's smaller, which I don't mind, but the 55's just got a little bit more beef to it. I like the sound of relics because they have less stuff. That's technical. They got less finish on them, right? Because they got thin coat of nitro, and that's why they relic them and so on and so forth. But Wildwood did a cool thing called Relic Ready. So it's a really thin coat of nitro, so it resonates. I think the wood breathes a little bit more. You get a little more a different resonance. Let's just put it that way. That I prefer. And but it's not already pre-beat, so you can kind of beat it up yourself. So you get the advantages of a relic. Some people are put off by the relic thing. So you got a thin coat of nitro, and away you go. So for me, if I had to today go buy a Strat, I have a tendency to like ash bodies and maple neck. That's not to say I don't like alder and rosewood. It's just that rosewood and alder, it's a little darker sounding, and maybe not as fast of attack. That being said, if I had to choose between no guitar and a guitar, I wouldn't even say that. I could make that work for me because, as a matter of fact, for years I had a Strat that was an ash body with a rosewood neck. And that was great because that was kind of the melding of worlds. But anyways, if I had to choose a guitar today, I would a Strat. I would probably get a Wildwood 1055, either Journeyman Relic or a Relic Ready, just for me personally. And I'd probably go with Fiesta Red. Why? Because it's party time. Am I right or am I right? Doggone it. Opinions on the EJ Strats. I've always loved the various iterations of his Strats. They're always, of course, sussed out because he's a very knowledgeable and tone-savvy cat, to say the very least. So all of the different iterations of Eric Johnson's Strats that I've played, I've enjoyed immensely. We had one here not long ago. There was a... they sent me one of the Virginia Strats, and I dug it. Man, it sounded great. It sounded really, really great. I would always choose a Telecaster. I hear you, Tom, but if we're choosing a Strat, we're talking Strat talk, okay? We're talking Strat talk. Do tone woods matter? Well, Chad, I'll tell you what, there's certainly a lot of arguments on the internet about that. I will just say, from my experience after playing thousands of guitars, sometimes right back to back, not thousands of guitars, like literally at that sitting, but you understand. I find that ash seems to be a brighter wood and maple seems to be a brighter wood. Alder seems to be a little bit darker, and guitars with a rosewood neck seem to have a little bit of a darker tone. That being said, I'm sure you can find exceptions to the rule, but in terms of a faster attack, like when you really, you really lay into them and you feel that immediate response, whereas an alder and rosewood thing, it's just get more give to it. It's a microscopic thing, but it's a thing. So that's what I say, and I think there's people that agree with that. What are your feelings about an HHS Strat, Richard? I have had variations of doing things with putting a humbucker in back. I don't like the look of it per se. I like the traditional look of a Strat with 3 single coils. So for me, back in the day, I put in like a little JB Junior in the back for a while there. But then I just like the sound of regular single coils, so I popped them in. But it's certainly a good way if you had to have one guitar and you did want a humbucker. I've kind of changed my tune a little bit. I kind of like the look of a humbucker in back on a Strat. So it's totally a useful thing. I do like the sound of a 2 position. So, one of my things, if I'm going to have a Strat, I really want to make sure that I get that 2 position sounding the best that it can. And sometimes when you put a humbucker in the bridge, you're sacrificing that just a hair. Not to say that there aren't some ways that they've figured it out so that when you go to 2, it splits the humbucker in a way that sounds really convincing in the 2 position. It's great for Bon Jovi songs. I see you, Todd. I see you. Ho, 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 living on a prayer. Kind of Slim Whitman doing Bon Jovi. Did you like that? I'm a cowboy on a steel horse I ride, and I'm wanted, dead or alive. The hits of Slim Whitman, ladies and gentlemen, doing the songs of Bon Jovi. What? I didn't even know the word. Wow, I've really gone crazy at this point. You know why? Because it's time for another coffee. Because why? Our machine is fixed. I was very nice. My wife brought this in, and it's the article in the local paper with my. Here, see if we can close it on it. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that. It says local something. Anyways, but I love it because our neighbor across the street said, "Congrats, Greg. Thought you might like an extra copy." The Geetles. Thank you, Geetles. When I was growing up, my buddy Bill Young's mom would always do that for me. She'd always get the my band was playing all the time and getting little write-ups in the paper and whatnot. She'd always make sure she'd cut out the newspaper, and Mrs. Young would bring it over to the house. Say, "Here, I cut it out for you." Very, very nice, very sweet. So now we have neighbors that do that here at our other house. So very, very nice. Thank you, Geetles. Any difference on the Sassafras EJ Strat? Eddie, I enjoyed it. I guess I kind of compared it to the Strat I had here at the same time as I had that Eric Johnson Strat that was made out of sassafras. Was one of those kind of Mary Kay 56 Strats that they had. I think they might have a few of those. Ooh, that thing sounded glorious. And I kind of felt bad for the EJ Strat because EJ Strat sounded great. There's nothing. It sounded excellent when I plugged in that ash-bodied maple neck Rascal with the gold hardware. There's just something about that guitar just rang like a damn bell. So it was hard. I felt kind of bad for that particular guitar because it was being supermodeled against the other one. So anyway. Could you sing us a song about forgetting our lunchbox? Did you forget your lunchbox today, Swedish Sam? Swedish Sam forgot his lunchbox. Swedish Sam forgot his lunchbox. So he went to IKEA to get some delicious meatballs, and then he wasn't sad anymore. And he got some of that lingonberry sauce to put on those meatballs. Now he's going to forget his doggone lunchbox every doggone day of the week. How's that, Swedish Sam? Swedish Sam in the house. No, I'm showing my footwear. Oh, I forgot to tap the other thing, Paul Brown. Oh, camera. Show us more footwear. Oh, doggone it. You saw the guitar and footwear as I sang Swedish Sam, a song about forgetting his lunchbox. You know, that's the kind of entertainment that you don't get really anywhere else. Am I honest? Am I right? Am I right or am I wrong? Have you ever had Swedish meatballs? And Paul Brown knows a story that I know. So I'm in Sweden for the first time. This is many, many yarns ago. And I'm doing some Fender clinics, right? And it's me and Jamie Crompton, my buddy who was the artist relations guy from Fender from England, and a pirate of the highest order. We're still good buddies. And then my buddy Tony Axelson, who was the head of Fender Scandinavia, no longer, but we're all no longer affiliated with the Big F, but whatever. So we were there then, and we were going to be in Sweden for a few days, and so I said to Jamie, I was like, Jamie, are Swedish meatballs a thing? Because if they are, it sure would be nice when we're in Sweden to have like the best Swedish meatballs you can get. It's kind of like if you're in Chicago, you want the best, deep dish pizza, you want the best hot dog, the best Italian beef. You know what I'm saying. If you're in, when in Rome, am I right? So I'm in Sweden. I figure if Swedish meatballs are a thing, I want the best iteration, and I'm going to feast. So he's like, yeah, I'll ask Tony. So he says to Tony, Tony, we'd really like to get some Swedish meatballs while we're here. We'd like to get like the best version and see what we can get. And he's like, oh, don't worry about it. I know just where to go. Excellent. So we're traveling between Göteborg and Stockholm, and we're way out in the country driving around. Also, he pulls over at a exit where there's a lot of shops and usual kind of restaurants that you see. And he pulls into an IKEA, and sure enough, we got Swedish meatballs at IKEA, and that was what he thought was the epitome of what Swedish meatballs were all about. So either that means that IKEA is indeed the bomb, or else, holy crap. You know what I'm saying? Or else, holy crap. Holy shnikes, y'all. All right, listen, I got to roll. Thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate it as always. Please show your love to Wildwood. Check out the website. Go over there, look around, give them a call if you have any questions. They'll take care of you. I'm here in the Orange Room in Wisconsin, waiting the day where I can go back out to Colorado and play a whole bunch of guitars and hang out with my buddies from Wildwood and look at the mountains. It's always nice to look at the mountains. And there you have it, folks. Have a good one. We'll see you here tomorrow. I can't believe tomorrow's Friday already. These weeks go by so doggone fast. It's frightening. So anyways, folks, take it easy. We'll see you tomorrow.